this episode, we will continue our way south through the Oregon coastal mountains on our way to the California border. You are welcome to ride along with us. Good morning. We are just leaving our campground. We camped at a place hunters had used before. Very nice, stuck in the trees. Today's Saturday, and we're still working our way through the Tillamook State Forest. And we are back on pavement for a little bit. We're going to come down here 5, 6, 10 miles or so and take a right turn and go up and see Clarence Creek Falls. The Trask River is on our right. Did you see him, Charles?
Yeah, I was just hanging out along the road there.
Yep. We turned off onto Clarence Creek Road. We come up here about a mile to the falls. Clarence Creek Falls is hard to see. The best time to see it is in the spring when it is flowing hard, but it's an impressive drop just the same. This is the top of the falls, and when this thing is flowing hard, it's definitely impressive. Next up on the tour is the turn off to Niagara Falls. It is a 1 mile downhill walk through the forest from the parking area to the two waterfalls. The first falls you come to is Niagara Falls. It drops 134 feet right next to the path. Across a small valley is Pheasant Creek Falls with a drop of 128 feet. We had a little lunch right after the hike, relaxed a little bit, and now we're continuing south. Watch out for the potholes. Nice tall Douglas firs. You really have to watch out for the potholes on this road. Some of them are pretty deep. The dense vegetation on the sides of the roads definitely makes it difficult to see around corners if there's anybody coming at you. We stopped at Spirit Mountain Casino and got fueled up, and now we're headed back into the woods. White truck coming at us. Well, Drift Creek Falls Trailhead is very popular.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected to see, is to have them lined up all along the road and everywhere.
Yeah, this is a little popular.
He's not giving out tickets for their parking. He's giving out tickets if they don't have a Northwest Trail Pass, I ask you.
They got a Northwest Trail Pass. That's kind of like a day use permit.
It allows you to be in any of the state and national, federal forest areas where there's user fees.
Similar to the Senior Pass. We spent the night near Drift Creek, where we met another Colorado driver. As you can imagine, there was lots of talk about them. Okay, we are just leaving our campground on Drift Creek. That was a nice campground, but there's many of them on this strip. Not room for a lot of vehicles. If you're doing this trip on with a large number of vehicles, you want to stay up where you can camp on a log deck or a quarry area. There's just not room for a lot of vehicles in some of these campsites. We are back on the main Forest Service road, headed for the Trask River. In case you're trying to figure out where we are on a map of Oregon, we are east of Lincoln City. The Trask River is on our right. We'll follow that up here a little ways and cross it. between the south end of the Sayusla National Forest and the start of Elliott State Forest. There's a swath of private land we are passing through right now. Welcome to the town of Silet. And welcome to Toledo. Looks like they got a cruise in today.
So the Alaskan fishing boats you were talking about, Charles? Believe it or not, a big repair facility here, and at least 4 of the boats that you see, a couple of them have been in Deadliest Catch, but a couple of them work up there. This is their home port.
This is the Toledo River we're about to cross. And we're back on gravel.
Well, Larry sure knows how to find the dirt, don't he? Rick?
But didn't you hear the little ding and the angels singing when he saw that pavement in sign?
Kind of heard something going on.
We're back in the Sayusla National Forest. I got a pedestrian. Everything okay?
Yeah.
All right, just
walking.
Okay, just checking.
Thanks.
Okay, time for a photo opportunity. Looking back down on Toledo. Trask River is on the left. And that fog bank out there is where the ocean is. We're in Weyerhaeuser property. They have gates up. They can close at any time. I've been using Gaia GPS to run the route. One of the layers I have active is the private land. And when you're on private land, you want to make sure that you're being real gentle with it so that people leave the roads open. Don't block the gates. Don't leave your trash laying around. And I guess I would say that it would be best not to camp on the private land. There's some really deep potholes on this road. Really need to be paying attention. And as you can see, we're back on pavement. But this is a Forest Service road pavement. So it's 1 lane wide. Not in very good shape, but we'll take it. This is a beautiful section through here. Last time I was through here in January, and it was covered with green pine boughs or fir boughs from one of the storms that came through just before we did the trip. Okay, we got a red car coming. I got 2 more guys behind me.
2 more?
Yeah, you may want to wait here. This is about the only wide spot.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay, yep.
Which way do you go back in now?
Looks like they're getting ready to do some work. We're about 20 miles north of Highway 126, which goes to Florence on the coast and Eugene on I-5. And we're back on a paved road through the forest. Oh yes. Then there's snags like that fall down from the hillside. Vegetation is encroaching on the road so much that a couple spots my mirrors have been hitting.
Yeah, I'm wide enough. I'm getting a lot of that with these bigger mirrors.
We are back on pavement, headed for Mapleton. Traveling next to the Siuslaw River. That looks like an osprey. Welcome to Mapleton. We cross the Siuslaw River and are continuing south. And that river looks really nice off to the right.
Yeah, this is nice. This is nice getting back.
We're going to follow the river a little ways and then we're going to hang a left and go back into the forest. The Siuslaw River. Looking awful good out there. On the way to our campsite, we stopped at the Sweet Creek trailhead and hiked to the falls. The creek drops 70 feet in 4 distinct waterfalls. During the January scouting trip, we stopped at Sweet Creek and there was a torrent of water flowing through it. It was hot during the July trip and the creek looked much more inviting. After visiting Sweet Creek, we headed for our campsite. From our campsite, we hiked to where Beaver Creek drops 20 feet into Sweet Creek. Good morning. We are leaving our campground and headed south. We found some more salmon berries as well as some Oregon blackberries. And boy, were they tasty. There goes the beer.
Didn't want to hear that. I wanted to see it.
Yeah, he went down the road for a little bit before he bailed off into the side.
Nice.
So there are black bears in this area, so you need to keep your camp clean so you don't invite them in. We're doing the route in the beginning of July. The berries are starting to get ripe, so the bears are looking for the berries. When I laid out this route, there was a number of Forest Service roads to pick from, or general north-south direction. And so there's lots of options to modify this route and still get to the place where you want to get to. This gets pretty tight in spots. Vegetation overhangs the road quite a bit. When I scouted this route in March or April, this vegetation was nowhere near as thick. And I'm just amazed at how much it's grown up over just a couple months. Driving this is making me nervous just because you can't see what's coming around even a straight section of road, much less the corner. The thimbleberries did a good job of hiding a small rock slide at the side of the road. Last time I was through here, this tree was across the road at an angle coming off the cliff up above. Boy, I thought it was thick before. This spot is incredibly thick. Whoa! Careful of that stump that's sticking out right there. Stuff on the right with the flowers is blackberry. The stuff on the left with the big fat leaves and some on the right, this is all thimbleberry. What do you think about this for a campsite?
I don't know if it's big enough, but it sure is pretty.
Yeah.
I would put it as a campsite for, maybe 2 to 3 at the most, but yeah.
Many of the campsites on the route are pretty small. Some of the sites, would hold maybe 3, 4 cars. Others, like where there's a log deck, could hold, a much larger group. And back in civilization.
That was pretty rugged back through there.
Yeah, as I said earlier, the road was in good shape, but boy, it was hard driving.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we came out of it unscathed.
We're going to be following the Smith River down into Reedsport.
Copy that.
The Smith River is on our left. We'll be following that all the way into Reedsport. None of the rivers that we're crossing or have a dam in them, so they're all free-flowing. This is the Umpqua River. The Smith River flows into the Umpqua River at Reedsport. Welcome to Reedsport. We're in the Dean Creek elk viewing area. Doesn't look like there's any out here today. The Umpqua River is now on our left. And we're back in the forest. And we're back on gravel. Right now we are in the Elliott State Forest. Again, this is a working forest, so you need to be somewhat careful with the log trucks. Pay attention to the signs up for logging and what CB channel they're on. But right now I don't think they're logging off of this road because I didn't see any of those signs. And we're going to stop here for lunch. Got a good view. This would probably make a good camping spot, although it's not really level. This route is runnable in the winter time. Oh, you may hit some snow and have to find a bypass around it. If you do run it in the winter, you're going to want to bring along a gas-powered chainsaw, especially after if there's been a storm through this area, because there may be a lot of trees down. When I was scouting this trip, we had to do a bunch of tree work in one section. Other sections were fine. And we also ran into snow on the section closer to the California border and had to work around that. We got a truck coming at us. I'm going to wait. Just see the cloud bank over there where the ocean is. Well, we met a log truck, empty, luckily, at a turn. I didn't see a CB radio sign from the direction we were coming into, so just be real careful here. At least the road is plenty wide. We're going to be on pavement for a while, following the Millicoma River till we get to the bridge, and then we'll cross it and come back up the other side. A little bit of yard art there. We'll be following the Coos River for a little while. The Millicoma River flows into the Coos River down here and cross the bridge and then go up the other side and back into the forest. Coos Bay is at the end of this river. We are back in the forest. With serious potholes. This section that we're going through now is just a mishmash of public and private. So it makes it a little difficult to find a camping spot in stuff like this. But we'll figure something out. It's still early in the afternoon. Welcome to Myrtle Point. We got fuel in Myrtle Point and headed south looking for a campsite. We were unsuccessful finding a campsite along the south fork of the Coquille River. Pretty valley down here. We're in Powers County Park, City of Powers, Town of Powers. There's a deer right there. The county park in Powers is a good place to stop. You can enjoy the pond and take a shower.
Right there, see?
Yeah. In the next episode, we will get detoured by a rock fall, visit a mountaintop, enjoy some thimbleberries, and see California.